So they just finished this surprise hearing with new evidence, newly obtained evidence. This is at Fox News. Welcome back to the channel, Cultural Confederacy here, another one-take video. Pipe and coffee in hand, as always. Taking a sip of my coffee now. So it says here, January 6th committee surprise hearing added Tuesday to review. Now, they weren't going to do a hearing till July, but I guess they had all this new evidence, this bombshell evidence, the smoking gun with this Cassidy Hutchinson. And it turns out there's nothing there. It's nothing we haven't seen before. And they want to say that you're the danger. You know who's the danger to this country, to this thing we call the United States? They are, the people in D.C. You mean to tell me that they didn't know how to handle a crowd in D.C. when they've had crowd after crowd after crowd for protest after protest after protest? Give me a break. As I've said before, this was all a ruse to get Trump. That's all this was. You know what the new evidence is? The people were armed. The Secret Service was confiscating what they deemed as weapons. Wow. Wow. So let me just read you some of these updates here that they had listed at Fox News during the show trial. Trump said VP Pence, quote-unquote, deserved it amid hang Mike Pence chants on January 6th. And we still don't know who put up those gallows. There's no video of that. These gallows being constructed, is there? Come on, FBI, do your job. Investigate this. It says here, former President Donald Trump said that former Vice President Mike Pence deserved it as rioters chanted, hang Mike Pence, at the Capitol on January 6, according to a former White House aide. Cassidy Hutchinson, a top aide who was supposed to give the smoking gun today but did nothing, she didn't deliver. To former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, said Tuesday that she heard a conversation between Meadows and White House counsel Pat Cipollone, or I don't know how to say this guy's last name, it's Cipollone, in which Meadows said that Trump was happy with the rioters. Quote, I remember Pat saying something to the effect of, there you go, something to the effect of, not the exact words. Okay, we have nothing here. Mark, we need to do something more. They're literally calling for the vice president to be effing hung, Hutchinson said. And Mark had responded something to the effect of, you heard him, Pat. He thinks Mike deserves it. He doesn't think they're doing anything wrong. Trump threw lunch at wall. Shattered plate over anger toward AG Barr testimony reveals. After the Associated Press published a story detailing that the Attorney General Bill Barr had not found widespread fraud during the 2020 election, then President Trump smashed a porcelain plate out of anger, testimony revealed. Representative Liz Cheney, we know how reputable she is. She's the one running this committee who is running her political career into the ground, committing political suicide. She stated, quote, the physical altercation that Ms. Hutchinson described the presidential vehicle was not the first time that the president had become very angry about issues relating to the election. On December 1st, 2020, Attorney General Barr, bring this to you cold again, said in an interview that the Department of Justice had not found evidence of widespread election fraud. You did not find evidence of widespread election fraud, but what about, as I've said before, fraud in the narrow? Investigate it. No widespread election fraud sufficient to change the outcome of the election. Ms. Hutchinson, how did the president react to hearing that news around the time that I understood the AP article went live? Hutchinson, former aide to Mark Meadows, said that Trump had thrown his lunch against the wall upon reading the AP article. Oh my God. What I remember hearing noise coming from down the hallway, so I peeked my head out of the office. I saw the valet walking towards our office. He said, get the chief down to the dining room. Okay, so she heard this. She didn't witness the president throwing this plate against his lunch against the wall because he was mad at what was going on here. But she heard it. Just like she said she heard Mike Meadows say something to the effect of. Now, I'm not going to discount that Trump may have gotten angry, okay? But hearing and witnessing something, they're two different things. Let me give you an example. We had an incident over this past weekend. If you don't know, I work at a hotel. That's my day job. Do this YouTube channel on the side, write music in my spare time. But we had an incident where I was just coming into work for my shift, doing the midnight to 8 a.m. shift, doing the overnight shift. There was a wedding. It was for one of our employees. His daughter was getting married. Well, apparently there was an altercation. I heard it. I didn't see anything, but I heard it. So you could hear the commotion, but you couldn't see what was going on. Well, by the time I had gone around the corner, there was a guy lying on the ground. We think he may have been unconscious for a couple of minutes. We had to call an ambulance. I mean, things like this happen all the time, okay? This isn't anything new. Anything shocking here. But nobody knows exactly what happened. Some people claim that this guy was 3 sheets to the wind because he had been drinking so much. Others said that he was tackled. So she's given this testimony pretty much on hearsay, which would have been thrown out of court. It's circumstantial. It all goes back to what do you know, or what did you know, and when did you know it? That's what matters in a court of law. And I must remind people that this committee is not a court of law. Hutchinson recounted that she followed, and once she arrived to the dining room, she saw the valet was changing the tablecloth. He was changing the tablecloth. Where's the plate? Where's the broken plate? And why don't we have pieces of that broken plate in this committee? Show me the pieces of that broken plate that Trump threw against the wall. Miss Cheney, or Mrs. Cheney. She said she, quote, first noticed there is ketchup dripping down the wall and there's a shattered porcelain plate on the floor, but no pieces. Where's the ketchup bottle? Where is this porcelain plate? I can't read anymore. I just can't go on. I just can't go on. So moving on here, Trump responds to former White House aide testimony before January 6th committee. Former President Donald Trump posted on his social network Truth Social, responding to the testimony today from White House aide Cassidy before the January 6th committee. Hutchinson was a top aide to Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, while Trump was falsely claiming that the presidential election was stolen and lead up to January 6th. Quote, I hardly know how this person, Cassidy Hutchinson, is, other than I hardly know who this person is. Other than I heard very negative things, again, I'm doing this in one take, negative things about her, a total phony and leaker. And when she requested to go with certain others of the team to Florida after my having served a full term in office, I personally turned her request down, Trump said. Why did she want to go with us if she felt we were so terrible? Exactly. And that's a question that needs to be asked here. If Trump was so terrible, and he was the worst president ever, why didn't any of these people who are at this hearing, who are testifying to this hearing, why didn't any of these people leave right away? Trump was so terrible. You know why they didn't leave? Because they need that gravy, baby. They love that gravy chain. Oh, yeah, because it's all connections in D.C. Everybody wants to be part of that glow. Everybody wants to be part of that glow. I understand that she was very upset and angry that I didn't want her to go or be a member of the team. She is bad news. It's bad news. Oh, I bet. Trump lunged at Secret Service agent after being told he couldn't go to Capitol on January 6th. Despite warnings from his top lawyers, former President Donald Trump insisted on going to the Capitol on January 6th, and he quote-unquote lunged at a Secret Service agent who told him he couldn't, a former White House aide said. Former top aide to Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, Cassidy Hutchinson, made the comments at a January 6th committee hearing Tuesday. She said the White House counsel Pat Cipollone, this guy's name who I can't pronounce again, Cipollone, warned repeatedly that Trump going to the White House could put many people at the White House in legal jeopardy. On January 3rd, Mr. Cipollone had approached me knowing that Mark Meadows had raised the prospect of going to the Capitol on January 6, Hutchinson said. Mr. Cipollone had a brief private conversation where he said to me, "We need to make sure this doesn't happen. This would be legally a terrible idea for us." Quote, "It's my understanding that Mr. Cipollone thought that Mr. Meadows was indeed pushing this along with the president," she added. And here we go again. Cipollone said something to the effect of, not the exact words, something to the effect of, "Please make sure we don't go up to the Capitol. We're going to get charged with every crime imaginable," Hutchinson said. Among the crimes, she said, were obstruction of justice and defrauding the electoral count. And on it goes. McCarthy expressed frustration with Trump's desire to head to the Capitol on January 6th, former White House aide said. So all this testimony today was supposed to hinge on this Cassidy Hutchinson, who Trump barely knew, who turned down to go with him to Florida. Trump was such a bad president, she wanted to go to Florida with Mr. Trump. Did she want to sleep with him too? Ex-White House aide Trump demanded Secret Service let rally attendees in with weapons. Not here to hurt me. Former President Donald, that's the big news today, is everybody had weapons. Although we know that BLM and Antifa were probably the instigators in this, and okay, maybe you had a couple Trump supporters that were out there meandering around the Capitol building. Okay, big deal. But how many of them were actually breaking windows and threatening people of Congress or in Congress? Come on, folks. It's all a ruse, as I said. Former President Donald Trump knew many of his supporters in Washington, D.C. on January 6th were armed and demanded that they be let into a secure area at his rally. Cassidy Hutchinson, again, a former aide to Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, said at a January 6th hearing Tuesday. He thought the MAGs were at fault for not letting everybody in, but another leading reason, likely the primary reason, is because he wanted it full and was angry that we weren't letting people through the MAGs with weapons. What the Secret Service deemed as weapons. Okay, what did they consider to be weapons? Your cell phone? Seriously. Sounds like the Secret Service was picking and choosing what they thought would be a weapon. Just like they were, along with the D.C. police, picking and choosing who they wanted to go into the Capitol building. When I was in the vicinity of a conversation, something to the effect of, where I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care if they have weapons. She also said, via video. So she didn't say, so she says it's via video. Can we say rehearsed? They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags away. Let my people in. They can march the Capitol from here. Let people in. Take the effing mags away. Hutchinson also said former Deputy Chief of Staff Tony Ornato had told Trump something to the effect of, they have weapons they don't want confiscated by the Secret Service. They have weapons. What are you, Elmer Fudd now? January 6th ellipse crowd had scores of weapons confiscated. Police spotted several armed people in D.C. Oh my God, people who probably have permits to carry weapons or guns were at the Capitol. Imagine that, exercising the Second Amendment right. And how many people died on January 6th? Oh yeah, one person. It was Ashley Babbitt, who was a Trump supporter. Okay, end of case. Okay, let's move on here, folks. FBI seized Eastman's phone. Court documents reveal Trump ally lawyer John Eastman's phone was seized by the FBI last week. The FBI last week. Can you get the words out today? That's what sucks when you're in a hurry to do a video for YouTube. When you can't get the words out. Doesn't help that I haven't had my second or third cup of coffee this morning. Well, now it's morning for me. Fox News' Bill Mears and David Spunt confirm Eastman is suing the federal government, arguing that he was not allowed to see a copy of the warrant. Why wasn't he allowed to see a copy of the warrant, FBI? Until after his phone was seized, and that he was not allowed to see the warrant's supporting affidavit. Eastman was one of the lawyers in Trump world after the 2020 election, arguing the former Vice President Mike Pence could refuse to certify some states' electoral votes. So that is at Fox News. That is what was going on with today's hearing. Thought I'd give you an update. I want to do day 5, but I had some technical issues with YouTube where I couldn't upload that video. So apparently this is day 6, and they've got something scheduled for July. But again, there's nothing here, folks. Nothing we don't already know. And where are they going to go with this? I mean, what are they going to do with Trump? I mean, seriously. I mean, Trump is no longer in office. You can't put a president on trial who isn't there, and they have no constitutional authority to put a president on trial. This committee doesn't. I mean, Congress may, but this committee doesn't. And what about the boy, getting a little stuffed up here. But what about these rioters in Arizona over the flipping of Roe v. Wade? They were locking these representatives, these legislators in at the Arizona State Capitol building with those cheesy chants and picket signs, peons with picket signs. That wasn't considered an insurrection? So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. You can also catch me at Instagram, #JasonComposes, or find me at Twitter, Culture Confederacy at Twitter. This is the Culture Confederacy saying peace out. Stay safe, everybody. God bless this great country. I'll catch you next time, and you all have a good Tuesday.